Hey, my friend, if you're using Claude Code, especially if you're using plan mode, I've got a prompt that you've got to try and really just make part of your workflow. So, what is plan mode? Let me actually walk you through a few things. I don't want to assume everybody knows. When you use Claude Code, it's always a good idea to work on a plan before you actually have it go and execute something. Moving straight to code can be a risk. So, the challenge is that these tools, these AI tools, are going to be making assumptions and decisions that you might not make yourself. So it's good to slow down and have a plan in place. How that plan comes about can look different ways. Claude has a built-in feature that is specifically what we're talking about right now. So Claude's plan mode is basically just telling Claude Code to think before it acts. It's going to take time to outline what it intends to change, where those changes will happen, why. Sometimes it'll explain why. And it does all of that without actually touching your code base until you switch back into execute or act mode. And it does this by creating a markdown file. If you're using terminal for a lot of stuff, you already know that plan mode is going to show you a markdown file in your terminal window. If you're using something like Cursor, you can still see it in a similar way and have easier access to the file itself. But it's just text. It's just a markdown file of the plan. So how do you use it? Well, in Claude, in the terminal, you just type /plan and hit enter. And then it just turns it into plan mode and then says, all right, what are you planning? I tend to use a second path into plan mode, which is just holding shift and hitting tab. Using shift tab allows you to cycle through different modes that Claude Code can be running in. So that's how I turn plan mode on and when I'm using it. And then I can just start to tell it what we are planning together. When do you use plan mode? Well, the simplest way is if you've got a new feature that's going to span more than one file, I think it's great to think about plan mode. If you are refactoring something in your code base that already exists, definitely a good idea to work on a plan first. You can surface the ripple effects of the changes much better that way, and Claude I would say, does a pretty good job of that. If there's any task that Claude might make some architectural decisions where you might disagree, this is a really valuable step, especially when you pair it with the prompt that I'm going to show you in a minute. So the issue, why do we even have an additional prompt? If plan mode is built in, can we just use plan mode and it's fine? Well, here's the issue. Most of these AI tools, they look reasonable when they come back with the plan. The plan looks and sounds good. If you slow down, though, you will realize that there are some small, sometimes big, decisions that were made but not explicitly told to you in the plan. And sometimes you notice them after the work has been done and you're thinking, oh, I didn't actually want it to do this. Why did it include that decision? Why did it make that assumption? So to prevent that, we have this prompt that comes after a plan has been drafted. Here's what the prompt says. Walk through every decision or assumption, one by one, that you made in the plan. Ask me one at a time to either confirm, change, or remove that thing. So that's the prompt. How it comes about can look a few different ways depending on how you are engaging in plan mode with Claude. Typically, after you ask Claude to create a plan, it goes straight into permission mode. It says, all right, the plan is done. Do you want to implement the plan? Do you want to change the plan? Or you want to say no to the plan? And there's always this kind of third or fourth fill in the blank option. So where this prompt comes in is usually I'm manually typing in that fourth fill in the blank option, where it asks me if I want to move forward with the plan. I'll say almost, comma, but first, walk through every decision or assumption, so on and so forth. So Claude goes back through its own plan and it surfaces every choice one at a time. And that gives me the chance, it gives you the chance to confirm the decision it made, maybe change it, or even remove in some cases. Maybe there's something that it's going to add that you would have not wanted. So here's a screenshot of terminal when I was asking it to do this exact thing. The first decision that it was saying is, it's hard to read here. You can look at the blog post for the full-size image, but it says, I assumed the package name should be, and it lists a package name. This follows convention, even though no formal one exists yet. So confirm, change, or remove, it asks me, and it gives me 4 options. Well, I guess it gives me 6, but confirm, change, remove, and then 4 is type something, 5 is chat about it, 6 is skip and just plan immediately. So I have a chance to just say, yes, this is good. I'm good with this decision. This is something that I learned almost accidentally as I started to play with this idea. I realized that as Claude walked me through its assumptions and its decisions, I was actually learning some things. There were certain things that it decided or assumed that I didn't even think about. I wouldn't have crossed my mind. So I actually have ended up learning using this approach as well, which has been pretty cool. So here's the workflow. I open up Claude Code. I'm ready to work on a project or a change to a project. And first I want to plan. So I entered into plan mode. Again, I use Shift Tab to alter modes, or you can just type in /plan. I describe what I want. Claude creates a plan in a markdown file. It shows me the markdown file and says, are you ready? And I say, nope, not yet, first. And then I ask it to walk me through all the decisions and assumptions. Once that's all done, then I'm ready to go into execute or act mode. So in a blog post, I go through all of the details of this. I've got code samples. You can copy and paste some of the things that I've just described. I've got bigger screenshots that you can look at more closely if you want to see this in real time, in a real context. And hope that you enjoy what this can do for you. It can really make Claude's plans a lot more effective for you and exactly what you want or need in your project. So enjoy.